Well, the curators, I think, have put us in order in a really interesting way, because my talk is all about what we can do to change the world. When I was just getting started out, I remember thinking, what am I going to do with my life? Does anyone else have that question? Yeah, it totally stressed me out, that question. Because here's what happened. This is a long time ago, and I was just getting started. And I remember looking at what people were doing. And so I'd see folks that were out there working in business, but they didn't really look like they were doing much good for the world. They were making money. And then I saw people who were out there really changing the world, working at all kinds of nonprofits, doing great stuff, but they were really struggling financially. And I had this crazy idea, which is, could I do good and make money at the same time? And I remember my parents and lots of other people going, Vicki, don't be ridiculous. Go and get a job, and then you can do your do good stuff after. But it didn't sit well with me. And so I tried a few things. Nothing was really getting me where I wanted to go. So I did what was acceptable back then, and I put on a backpack and went to Europe. What happened next completely changed my life. When I got to Paris, I was there at the most incredible time. The wall fell down days after I got to Paris. And I was sitting with my brother having a coffee, and I said, you know what, we have to go. All of Eastern Europe was opening up, and it was free. So we got on a train, and we went over, and we traveled up and down Eastern Europe. And this place completely changed my life, Prague. This is what it was like on the street. There are hundreds of thousands of people out there dreaming about what they were going to do now that they were free. And it was intoxicating. Every cafe and every bar that I went into, there were quite a few, I was hanging out with tons of people, and everybody was dreaming about what they were going to do now that they were free. And one day I went, oh my God, I'm free too. What am I going to do? And I started a business. I never thought I'd be an entrepreneur, but I started a business there, and then I started another business, and then I got all my friends to start businesses. And then one day, I was at a party at the Canadian Embassy, and someone came up to me and said, why are you doing all of this here instead of in your own country? And I thought, oh my God, that's such a great question. How would I get people in Canada to believe that anything was possible when we're already supposed to be free? But by the time I hit my 20s, I had all these layers of expectations on me. These are the schools you go to, these are the jobs you get, these are the things you do, this is what's acceptable for you, Vicki. But they were all outside voices. So fast forward 25 years. This is the anniversary this year of the Berlin Wall falling down. And I think that we are currently experiencing Prague on steroids everywhere. When I look out at the world, I think everything's broken. What a great time to be alive. If you're a creator, maker, or entrepreneur, this is your nirvana. So what do I mean by broken? What's broken? How about let's just start with the economy. The speculation economy, and that's where we bet on stocks going up or down, or currency going up or down, is 50 times bigger than the value creation economy, where we actually make something and sell it. Pendulum's gone totally wacky. There's got to be huge opportunities in there to do something different. And we're seeing crowdfunding as this. Some guy raised $40,000 to make potato salad because we're like, God, someone's doing something real. I'm going to give him some money. Or education. Here's another thing I think is totally broken. There's a professor at Harvard named Richard Elmore who says that the K-12 education system is designed exactly the opposite, point for point, the opposite of what we know about how people learn now that we're understanding neuroscience. Like the opposite. Someone needs to get some ed tech innovation going there. How about banks? This one makes me crazy. Banks charge me money to put money into my own bank account? Really? And this one. companies are paying women to freeze their eggs to delay childbearing so that they can work more, instead of really looking underneath this and going, why can't we create a way for men and women to parent children in a flexible schedule that works? This is crazy. So these are just some examples of what's broken. But I think how we do business is also broken. We use this phrase, it's just business, as an excuse to treat people poorly. We have this narrative out there that you have to work 24/7 to be successful. I was at an event recently where a 28-year-old, totally amazingly celebrated entrepreneur stood up in front of a crowd and said, how many people here slept less than 6 hours last night? And I thought, since when has not sleeping become a badge of honor? This is crazy. And finally, we have another narrative, which is success equals go big or go home. If you don't go big, it's not worth it. That doesn't scale? Oh, I wouldn't do that idea. It doesn't scale. What's that all about? Where has scale created a world that works for us? Why does something have to be big to be successful? I think we have a totally broken definition of success, and we need to rethink it. I think it's time that we redefine, redesign, and recreate everything out there. So what are people doing to redefine things? Amazing woman, just turned 30, Elizabeth Holmes, is redefining the blood test. So right now, if you need to get a blood test, you go to your doctor, who tells you what the tests are. You go to a lab. They take a whole bunch of vials of blood out of you. It gets mailed somewhere. It comes back 2 to 4 weeks later, and they're like, oh, it wasn't any of those. Let's do that again. She has found a way that you can walk down to your local pharmacy, prick your finger. They can do tons and tons of blood tests. 4 hours later, you get your results. Oh my God. She just turned 30. She's worth over $1 billion for this innovation. Or the Perimeter Institute. The Perimeter Institute is a center for theoretical physics. And why is theoretical physics interesting or important? Almost every single innovation has come from theoretical physics. It was founded by Mike Lazaridis, who was the co-founder at RIM, BlackBerry, put $100 million into the center to redefine the future. And the kinds of things that could come out of this, quantum computing and quantum physics. Imagine this, solar dots. You could put these little dots into paint. Then you can paint the side of your house, and the whole side of your house becomes a solar panel. That's like 10 years away. There's so many crazy innovations that are going to come from these quantum computers, and that's happening in Canada. I think that's Canada's moonshot. Next up is one of our SheEOs, Julie Forand from Sprout Gorilla. And her project in university was, how do I green urban spaces? She really wanted to redefine this. So she found out that moss affixes itself to almost any surface. You put it in paint, and you paint it on the wall grows and cleans the air while it shows the graffiti. Can you imagine that every single billboard in this city could be covered in moss and cleaning the air instead of being made out of paint and glue? Amazing. Or Bitmaker Labs. Anyone heard of Bitmaker? This is in Toronto. A couple of 20-something young guys decided that there was a better way to learn code. So they created a 12-week program to come in as a junior. You don't understand anything about coding. You come out the other side as a junior coder. 80% of the people that go through the 12-week course get a job. Or you could take a 4-year degree in computer science. I'm not saying don't take a 4-year degree in computer science, but I'm saying there's a lot of cool new innovations coming out about new ways to learn things. You can learn a lot of things in 12 weeks. Imagine if it was super intensive and it was project-based. It's pretty interesting. Another very interesting innovation came from a young woman who found out that 500,000 women die every year from cervical cancer. And a lot of that is preventable with early screening. But many women don't like to go to their doctor to have that kind of screening because it's a very distasteful experience. So she designed an at-home kit to do your own screening that you mail in. Amazing. She had no experience in the medical field. She was a designer. She created this product and it's now being tested all over the world. Phenomenal. And then there's me. I've run a number of companies, as we said in the introduction. But what really hit me was women entrepreneurs as my thing to solve. Women are dramatically underfunded compared to men. If women were financed to the same degree as men, we'd create 6 million jobs in the next 5 years in North America alone. It's always been like this. 50% of the population is not fully in, and that's crazy. We need to change that. So our goal is over the next 2 decades to find new ways to finance, support, and celebrate female entrepreneurs. And the reason why is because I think women need to be at the table to design this new world. Nothing against you guys, but if it's just guys designing the world again, I think we can do better. I think we can do much better. So, what hit me recently was that more than 50% of you are graduating from university and college and want to be an entrepreneur. That's amazing. And in the UK, the majority of people working in companies would like to leave and start their own thing. We're at this crazy, unprecedented time of entrepreneurship and creation. There are so many things to fix. There are so many things that we need to redefine and redesign. It's just overwhelming. But you need to dig deep and find that thing that makes you crazy. What do you walk by every day and go, oh my God, why is it that way? I think it needs to be fixed. Pay attention to that, because that might be the thing that you're here to contribute. We need you. We need all of you to redesign this world. When I was in Prague, I experienced an entire nation flip a switch overnight in their head. One day, there was a tank in their country and they weren't free. The next day, the tank drove away and every single person thought they were free. Imagine if you could get the tanks out of your own head. What would you create? If anything was possible, what would you redefine? Thank you.